The captain is not always your best player. The captain is just your captain. It has nothing to do with ability. It's about accountability. That's who your captain is.
Unfiltered Soccer with Landon and Tim, presented by Volkswagen. Volkswagen has long been a supporter of soccer in America and has proudly been a partner of U.S. Soccer for over 5 years.
LD, how are you, bud?
What's up, bud?
We're back. USMNT, Unfiltered Soccer. I'm Tim Howard. He's Landon Donovan. I still can't get over your hair. It's as gorgeous as ever.
At what point will we just stop talking about it?
Soon, I think. But I'm just not used to it yet.
My brother and sister-in-law came over yesterday, and I was like in the garage. They were taking my daughter somewhere, and they go, "Wait, Lan, come out here." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, I got no shirt on. I'm in like soccer shorts. I'm like, I'm not coming out there. And I walked out there like, "Oh my God, your hair, we haven't seen it." And I'm like, "Oh God, we got to talk about this again." So anyway, it just kind of happens, but
Amazing.
It's fun.
Good.
Whatever.
Good.
Could be worse.
What'd
you get up to this weekend?
Nothing. Chilled out, man.
Chilled
out.
How nice is that?
Yeah.
You didn't work.
I didn't work,
NBC.
so I just woke up, watched some soccer, got a coffee, chilled.
Love that.
It was great.
Watched your Giants?
Watched my Giants, watched them versus Tennessee. Both took a loss this weekend, so it was tough. But Everton took a loss, so it wasn't like an amazing weekend of sports for me, but still watched.
Could be worse.
Could be worse.
All right, guys, welcome to the show. As always, follow us on social media, Unfiltered Soccer, subscribe, Apple, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts. You can leave a rating. It helps people find us. Thank you. Or you can email Jordan at feedback@unfilteredsoccer.com. Happy anniversary to us, Tim. It is the 1 year. We are one. This is our last show of this season. Isn't that crazy?
It flew by. I mean, how many episodes? 40? Is that
40.
Right?
Yeah.
40 episodes.
All right, let's move on. Enough of the nostalgia. Okay, the real USMNT on USLNT.
Yeah.
Okay, so tough weekend for some guys. We saw Malik Tillman out for a few more weeks.
2 more weeks, is that right?
I think so, yeah.
So,
we want to dive into the Pulisic stuff. So he said he has a low-grade tear in his hamstring. I'm guessing 2, 3, 4 weeks. The bigger takeaway was, man, I know we have a lot to say about this. Milan's manager, Max Allegri, was upset that Christian was, quote, playing in a game that no points were on the line and blah, blah, blah. And he just went on and on how this should never happen and da-da-da, and going after Pochettino. And just go ahead. Give people the reality on this because it's so ridiculous.
Well, I guess the reality for me is we've talked about ad nauseum that every game for the U.S. matters. They haven't had their team together for a major tournament like the Gold Cup. They don't have World Cup qualifying. So actually, this was essentially a World Cup qualifier for us. It was an opportunity to get our team together and to fight for points. And we saw what Chris Richards said about how it mattered, and we saw that. So the game matters. And ultimately, it's a muscle injury on a player who had an entire summer off. He had a full preseason, right? Which means all of the fitness fundamental building blocks were put in place.
Right.
And it's the beginning of a season. It's a niggle. To suggest that he should not have played in a game that did mean something to the US, right? For their preparation, to suggest that he shouldn't have played in that game. It's not like they had it's April and they had Champions League, Serie A, and then national team game on the back end of it. This is the beginning of the season. So muscle injuries happen. I think it's crazy for Milan to suggest that he shouldn't have played. So there is a club versus country pull, and we're seeing it, and it's been for forever. And I think I'm not in those conversations right now that are happening in Milan, but I do hope Christian has enough stock and enough bravado is not the right word, but
clout.
Clout. Right? He's. This is going to be a problem. Like we said, they're not going to be available much before next international match. So what he's doing, and you know this, we talked about it, he's setting the table for basically saying,
totally,
I'm not sure Christian can come in. And I hope Christian and Poch go, well, yeah, right, sure. I'm obviously going to be there. I'm going to be fit. and I'm going to play. Like this can't happen to the U.S. where he gets himself fit a week and a half or 2 weeks before the next international break, plays for Milan and he's fit, and then the team or him say, yeah, well, I can't go to the November internationals.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy talk. So obviously, hopefully he's okay. It sounds as if it's a couple weeks, but that's where that is. And again, for me, he has enough clout. He's the best player. He's one of the top players in Serie A. He's the best American player. Like, he puts in performances. He has to be able to say, guess what? This might upset you, but like, I'm going in.
Yeah. And
Thoughts?
To borrow one of your phrases, Allegri, do me a favor. Like, have some context of the big picture. And this bothers me about coaches. They're so focused on this day, this weekend, this result, themselves. Go back and look what Pochettino did in the past in letting Christian go. He didn't bring him in this summer to the Gold Cup. Right? Like, so he goes and he gets injured. It happens. It's part of the game. Just stop, dude. Like, just enough of that. I do hope, for Christian's sake, that he's back quickly. I wonder too, in his brain, if he's like, I knew I shouldn't have come in, or I knew I shouldn't have played, or I do wonder that. I hope that's not the case.
Hopefully not.
There was so much value in these two games for the team as a whole, and I hope he's able to see that. And so we'll follow this. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's just tack on to the end of that. So this whole Pochettino was very interesting. He said over the summer, or over this international break, that he does not communicate with his players when they're not in national team camp. Now, I spent some time with him before the last game, and he said, Landon, I communicate with my players when they come into camp. We communicate a lot. I sit with all of them. We have conversations, we talk, we catch up. But in the way I do things, when the players are gone, I don't want to be disrespectful. I don't want to step on their toes with their club teams. I let them do their thing, and I'm not communicating with them. And it was interesting because elsewhere in the world, Thomas Tuchel had a little, it's not a dust up, but similar situation with Jude Bellingham. And I thought it was really interesting. He said he doesn't reach out to his players if they don't get called in. He'll send them a text or whatever, but he's not having long conversations. So I'm just starting to wonder / see that this is sort of just the MO of either coaches at this level or coaches now in modern football. It's just sort of how they do it. And I don't think it's how I would approach it, but I also don't have that big of an issue with it, to be honest.
No, I mean, look, I think it's, not everybody should be treated equally. Like, that's the thing that you have to remember within a team. And I try and teach that to younger players. Like, it's just not how it works. But when I look at Pochettino and Pulisic, when I look at Tuchel and Bellingham, you're talking about two of the better players on each of those teams, right? And so in my experience, I always spoke to the manager. The manager always spoke to you. Like if you were getting left out of a camp, the manager's not going to go, here's the list, give it to the press and the media, and then all of a sudden you find out via something. Like, the manager's going to tell you, right? And he's going to have a conversation with you. And so it must be the modern way of doing it or dealing with it. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Poch was trying to send a message to some of his players back when he felt he needed to do that. I don't know. I'm just I was always a proponent of having conversations, even tough ones. I remember you asked me last, which I forgot to answer, but the last episode we were doing questions from our listeners, and you said, like, how does it work with the goalkeeper and the goalkeeper coach? And I remember pushing, like, even when Jurgen Klinsmann was trying to give me the runaround after I came back off of sabbatical, like, I said to the goalkeeper coach, go ask him, you go speak to him. Like, I was having tough conversations. I should be playing. Like, I know he was trying to give me a runaround, but I said, like, I should be playing, and I would speak to the manager and say, like, you're leaving me out? Like, why? Like really pushing it because they were never going to question my effort. They were never going to question my talent. So, like, I knew I could have those conversations. So I'm with you. I know we, a couple of summers ago, probably 2 summers ago now, spoke to Unai Emery, who's a manager at Aston Villa. And it was like the first time I had ever heard this, but he basically said, like, I don't need to speak to my players. I'll see them at training. I'll see them at training. I don't need them to like me. I don't want to be friendly with them. And by the way, he seems a friendly guy if you've ever seen his interviews. Like, he seems like a nice guy. And by the way, the players respond. All the players we spoke to thereafter were like, we love his training, we love his tactic. It's really hard. He gives us tons of information. But, like, they obviously like the setup, right? But I had never heard that Landon before, because I was coming from managers who would always get their arm around you, and he was like, I don't really care. Like, I don't really care that they like me, that we need to talk. So yeah, it's an interesting one. I think it's generational.
I think it's generational too. And there was a great, I don't know if anyone watched baseball the last week or so, Max Scherzer, who's like 75 years old.
That was weird, by the way.
I loved it.
I hate it.
His manager comes out to pull him out of the game, and he looks at his manager and like, he basically says like, you're going to have to kill me to take me out. And he kind of yells at him, and there's this moment, and the manager left him in the game, but he knew his player. Like he knows he's kind of psycho and like whatever, but generationally he fought for it. He was like, I'm not just going to like acquiesce and give you the ball. Like, I'm going to stay in the game. So I know it was weird, but it was,
but yeah, that being said, and I didn't think of it till just now, there's an argument to say, you said he knows his player. He might have actually said, I'm going to walk up here. I know the exact
I'll do it on purpose.
I know the exact reaction I'm going to get, and I'm going to walk back in the dugout. So yeah, maybe. Yeah. Good point.
All right, let's move on to MLS. So Decision Day was this weekend. There was a lot of implications. First one, we'll start with Orlando City lose 4-2 to Toronto, and they dropped from a guaranteed playoff spot all the way down to 9th. And now they have to go to Chicago to play in the playing game, which is just a big blunder from them. And then what ended up happening, which I think for us neutral fans we love, is Columbus Crew won, and now they will play Cincy in the first round. So we get Hell is Real 3 times, hopefully 3 times, or is it 3 times for sure? Is that how no, I guess if you win 2. So hopefully 3 times, which will be phenomenal. So bad loss for Orlando. Let me just breeze through a couple of these, and then we can touch on. Seattle won at New York City FC. Both teams finished in 5th place. The big talking point there is Pedro de la Vega, big star player for them, left on a cart with what they think is a bad knee injury. He's going to be out obviously for the playoffs. So big loss for them. That's the challenge at the end of the season when you're fighting for positioning. Miami.
Go ahead. Real quick, the interesting thing about that is, and you and I have both been there, and Everton. You look at teams that are stacked in the Premier League. Like at the time, Everton wasn't one of those, right? So we had our star players. You know who they were, right? And you're like, if one of these guys go down,
we're in trouble.
We can't find goals. If Steven Pienaar went down, we're not going to have any creativity. Like, you know what I mean? And so there was those type of players, and I think this is what really hurts for Seattle. And I know it's next man up type of thing, and they have real good championship pedigree. It's not the same. Those Sounders players will be deflated, literally thinking, "Oh my God!" Like the amount of questions that will be going on in their head about, can we actually even do this in the playoffs, is going to be really, really tough for them.
Look at my guy Ricky Puig with LA, right? I mean, totally. Just like it changes everything. Miami won 5-2 against Nashville. They finished 3rd in the East, and I believe now they play each other again, which would be very interesting. Oh ho hum, Messi had a hat trick.
This guy, bro.
I was pushing so hard, Tim. I really wanted Understryer to win the MVP. There's no possible way you can name anybody. I mean, this is just ridiculous.
It's incredible.
He's ridiculous. Philly had already wrapped up the Supporters Shield. Charlotte, this is an interesting one. I want to hear your thoughts on this. Charlotte finished 4th, so they get home field in round 1. The end of the game, Wilfried Zaha got sent off for a second yellow. It looked like he punched Jesus Bueno. He will now miss their first game against NYCFC. This just baffled me. Like the level of naivety, and just, it's unacceptable. I mean, if I'm a coach, I'm absolutely livid. And by the way, why was he on the field when it's 2-0 at the end of the game on a yellow card? Get him off the field, Dean Smith. Just crazy.
I think that's right. I mean, I there's a trust factor as well. I think we have to add that in. Like, so a lot of times coaches are trusting you, but that being said, sometimes you can't get out of your own way. You need someone to help you, and again, I don't know,
but
Dean
Tim,
Smith,
that's not valid. Like, how many times did a manager come in at halftime and say, "You're on a yellow.
I know.
I either trust you or I'm taking you out right now." And you'd go, "I promise you I will not get a yellow. Keep me. I promise you." And you can never break that trust, ever.
I agree. He got his first yellow in the first half, right? So as the game's winding down, he's probably a player you want to get off because again, if you know Wilfried Zaha, he runs very fiery, very hot, which is great, which makes him the player he is.
Yeah.
But that also has to be managed. It's unfortunate though because it's like hindsight now. It's like, oh, I should have, but that doesn't matter because you're going to miss him for at least a game.
Well, it's not unfortunate. It's like it's just dumb.
It's unfortunate that they'll miss him, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Well, but it's unnecessary. And if they don't end up advancing now, there's one person to blame.
Good season. 10 goals, 10
fantastic season. He's really crucial to them. San Diego, wow. 4-0 at Portland.
Yep.
They ended up finishing top of the West because Vancouver lost at home to Dallas. I think they only needed a draw.
Yeah.
So now San Diego leapfrogged Vancouver. They set a new MLS record for points and wins by an expansion team.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mikey Veras, who's done a phenomenal job. I think they have a decent roster. They're not deep. They're not great beyond that, but he's done a phenomenal job. Portland will play the play-in game now. Again at home against Salt Lake. This is Monday, so when it comes out Tuesday, it'll be tomorrow and Wednesday. Vancouver we talked about now. Dallas finished 7th. Vancouver finished 2nd, so they will now play each other again.
They play each other. It's funny how that works.
And then lastly, Colorado. Oh, this was brutal. Home to LAFC. They go up late, and then they concede even later, and they're knocked out of the playoffs, which is just brutal.
My guys. I felt bad for them, and
I know.
It's had a decent season on the cusp. You obviously want to get in, but that's heartbreaking stuff. Again, that's the type of stuff. And we talked about like a player getting injured, and you worry about what the postseason is going to look like. When you get knocked out like that, that'll stay with those players for a couple months. Yeah, it'll stay with them for a couple months, and it's tough, man.
To draw 2-2 at home against LAFC is not terrible, but they won one of their last 7, right? And then you look back and you go, oh my God, that 1 point there would, and that's that's the hardest thing to do, man.
You're right. Listen, when you don't get in the playoffs, it's not based off one result.
No, I know.
Right? So
it always comes down to the last game where you feel like, oh, we should have, and whatever. It's like the qualifying in 2018 with you guys, right? It wasn't the Trinidad. It was the first 2 games losing at home, and then Costa Rica.
Yep, that's right.
It's just
that's right.
Okay, matchup I'm most excited about, for me, it's easy. Cincy Columbus, hell is real. Like, that's a real rivalry, and I cannot wait for that. Do you on that same page or?
Yeah, look, else? I mean, I'll be honest. I've got all eyes on Miami, and that's just not even the first round. I just think it could be I'm almost pulling for Miami to win the entire thing because it's like I think it'd be a watershed moment for the league. I'm thinking more big picture, and we know that there's been notches on along the way in terms of mile markers, but like I don't know. There's just something about seeing the Messi experiment end-ish with him lifting the MLS Cup. For me, that I think about the league. So right. So if I'm going all the way that far, then I'm coming back to I'll be interested in this first round. Yeah.
Okay, give me your Eastern just first round predictions so we have this on camera so people can know how dumb we are. Eastern first round predictions, including the play-in game. Who gets in there? And then go ahead. I'll give you mine.
I think Orlando beats
at Chicago. Okay.
Yeah. Because real briefly, that loss to Toronto's fresh. It's fresh. So
that's a good
I actually don't hate that they have that nasty taste in their mouth. Philly beats Orlando. New York City beats Charlotte. Miami beats Nashville. Ooh, Columbus. Columbus takes the Hellersville Derby. Go ahead, you.
You got Columbus? Okay, I'm going to go same as you. I think Orlando beats Chicago away.
Okay.
Philly beats Orlando.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Charlotte over NYC. If they can get through that first game without Zaha, that will help. I think Miami beat Nashville, and I think Cincy will beat Columbus. Okay. I do. Right. Columbus, though, man, that's a tough first round.
I know.
That's brutal. You finish second, and that's your reward. Okay, go West now.
Go West, young man. Real Salt Lake to win the playing game against Portland. Oh, sorry, Phil Neville. My bad, bro. I'm picking. San Diego beats Salt Lake. Oof. I think Seattle get it done. I think they get it done just in the first round.
Okay.
LAFC here, LAFC and Vancouver. I pick over Dallas. Here's the thing about LAFC and big players. I'm thinking of Son. I'm thinking of Thomas Muller. Like, this is playoff time, and I don't know if this sounds disrespectful or not. Hopefully it doesn't, but maybe it's why you bring in but maybe it's why you bring in big players. Like, I want Son on my team because guess what? Playoffs, like he's like, I've won this, I've won that, I've played in everything. So I'm actually thinking, like, when he gets the ball, he's not going to be like wobbling and going, "Oh, I'm worried about the playoffs." He's going to be like, "Give me the ball," and he's been in big moments. You know what I mean? And so, like, I like that about some of these players.
It reminds me of when Robbie Keane came to the Galaxy, and it was like some of the young kids on our team were like, "Oh my God, it's the first round of the playoffs," and Robbie Keane's like, "This is ridiculous, dude. This is nothing." Okay, I'm gonna go Salt Lake over Portland too. That's just going more with my heart. I want them to win. Salt Lake, San Diego is an interesting one because they're two teams that love to have the ball.
Yeah.
San Diego are more talented. They spend more money, so they have Anders Dreyer, they have Lozano. Salt Lake don't have a player like that, and that matters a lot. Diego Luna, but like it matters a lot in the playoffs. So I think barely San Diego sneak through.
Okay.
I think Seattle beat Minnesota. Yeah, I think Seattle beat Minnesota. LAFC and Vancouver win. So I think we're on the same page there.
And we're on a similar page, yeah.
Okay. All right. It is time for the Unfiltered Refresh, sponsored as always by Coors Light. Choose chill, get Coors Light delivered. Go to CoorsLight.com/USLNT. Timmy, who chose chill this week in MLS?
Our guy, my guy, Brad Guzan. Finally, he's retiring. 41 years old. It's an incredible career. 21 years. He's been at this, 2 World Cups, so 2010, 2014, Atlanta United's all-time leader in appearances, MLS Goalkeeper of the Year in 2007. That was before he went over to the Premier League. He made 171 appearances for Aston Villa. Just absolutely incredible. We know him as a warrior. He's a leader. He's super incredibly dependable and talented. And the fact that he was able to be a part of World Cup teams and play in the Premier League and win the MLS Cup and with Atlanta, hats off to him. Just he's a dear friend of ours, and I'm excited for him. He's got a beautiful family, wife and kids, and I'm excited that he'll get time to just be dad, whatever's next.
And let's be honest, if someone on this show hadn't been in their prime and playing during his career, he probably would have been a starting national team keeper for a long time too. So phenomenal career, biggest fingers and hands I've ever seen. Great lip. He's got a great lip. Brad Guzan, cheers to you, bud.
Cheers, bud.
Chill. Happy retirement. Okay, last thing before we take a break. Shout out to Trin Rodman. When this news happened on the weekend, she went out of the game. She was crying. Apparent knee injury. We feared the worst, but it looks like it was it was a sprained MCL, which I think almost all of us have had at some point. She will be back, and it's hard for her because she's been fighting injuries now with her back earlier and now the MCL, and that is difficult, but she'll get through it. I mean, she's an incredible athlete. She's an incredible competitor. So hopefully sometimes when these things happen in the moment, you think, oh my God, everything's going to, and then in big picture, you look back and you go, maybe I just needed a little break. Maybe my body was telling me something. I just time to pause. And so we hope she recovers quickly because our women's national team needs her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we're talking coaching changes. Very interesting as always. And we'll take a look back on the Premier League weekend right here on Unfiltered Soccer with Landon and Tim, as always, presented by Volkswagen.
The Unfiltered Soccer podcast is brought to you by Volkswagen, the presenting partner of U.S. Soccer.
As the U.S. gets ready to host the world for soccer's biggest moment, Volkswagen is helping people discover new turfs and new ways to play the beautiful game right here in the U.S.
From deaf and power wheelchair soccer to beach and futsal, VW is actively supporting all the communities and teams within the U.S. soccer ecosystem. They've signed U.S. soccer talent from across the portfolio of the Federation and we'll be helping to give these less popular forms of soccer a platform moving forward.
As a longtime friend of Volkswagen, I'm excited to support them in their mission to increase visibility of all forms of soccer.
Earlier this year, Landon and I got to see the redesigned 2025 Tiguan at one of our Unfiltered live events. Make sure you check it out in person and learn more at VW.com. There's a certain energy to soccer in Latin America. The footwork, the creativity, the passion from fans. It's more than a sport. It's a rhythm. That same spirit shows up in Café Bustelo. Bold, vibrant, smooth. Turn up the Latin flavor Café Bustelo has been bringing for generations. You can't miss this iconic staple anywhere. From the bodega to your local grocery store, they are everywhere. And now there's even more to love. They released a whole new line of roasts to match every mood. Light roast, medium, dark, and dulce de leche. Each one with its own vibe. Available in pre-packed bags and K-Cup pods. Delicious hot or iced. However you take your coffee, Café Bustelo shows up strong. I like mine black, strong, every afternoon. Café Bustelo is more than coffee. It makes you feel alive. Try the new Café Bustelo roasts today.
All right, Timmy, this episode is brought to you by our friends at Virgin Atlantic.
Yeah, we're here at the Virgin Atlantic Clubhouse at JFK. Honestly, it makes you rethink what an airport lounge can be.
It's beautiful. It's what Virgin does. They've been bringing joy back to flying since day one.
It starts with the people. The crew makes you feel seen. You're not just seat 31A. And the planes, comfy seats, mood lighting, fresh new plane smell, and hours of the best entertainment.
Yeah, I know you travel back and forth across the pond all the time. The food's amazing, all the little amenities. They have their mile-high tea if you want tea at 35,000 feet. You can have the jam, the scones, the finger sandwiches, all the things that you loved about British times when you were playing.
Yeah, and speaking of the food, you can pre-order your meal before you fly. I'm not just talking about the chicken or the fish. I had the Thai curry last time, and it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, everything's been thought through. It's flying the way you wish it always was.
So if you're headed to the UK soon, do it in style. After the pod, go to virginatlantic.com to learn more about their amazing experience.
LD, I'm going to for a moment, brief moment, step aside and let you take this one because you have had a lot to say about this for a very long time. Take it away.
So Atlanta fired Ronny Deila. I think it's Deila. This is wild, Tim. I didn't realize this till Andrew put it in. Atlanta spent more money in MLS history over the last two transfer windows. More money than anybody. They brought in Latelath, Miguel Marón, and Alexei Miranchuk. Finished second from the bottom. And I was surprised. I was surprised at the Ronny Deila hiring. And everyone said to me, well, he won a championship. He won a championship. That was, if I'm not mistaken, the COVID year, right? Which was just different. Everything was different.
You're not giving anybody credit.
I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I'm not saying, but it just seemed like it just didn't make sense to me. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. It just didn't make sense to me. Atlanta, figure it out, man, because you now have Garth Lagerwey's there. He will figure it out. He's a very smart man. You have, outside of Phil Anschutz, I think you have the best owner in Major League Soccer. There's no resource that they aren't willing to provide. Their training facility is phenomenal. They play in a beautiful stadium. They have everything at their fingertips. And so figure it out with your next hire. Has to hit. And then also from the player standpoint, you know how good you have it? You know, like that club and the way it treats you has to be better.
I am, well, God, so many places to start. I'm going to start here. I question the hiring mechanisms of many MLS clubs. I'll just start there.
That's a good point.
I'll just start there.
Yep.
That being said, as an owner or an advisor or an investor, I am not of the belief. Now, I don't know. I'll say I don't know what's gone on in that dressing room. Okay. Sure. I don't know. So has he lost a team? Blah, blah, blah. I have no idea. Okay. But if you spent all this money, right, and you believed a couple of months ago that this was the right guy to lead your team, you can finish second to last. These MLS clubs, there's no divine right. With the amount of parity that exists in the league, you have no divine right to finish at the top of the table, sure. Because here's the problem I have, LD. Massive problem. And I know this firsthand over many, many conversations over many years. These ownership groups sit in rooms, okay? And they put these expectations on the wall. I know expectations are important, right? And then when something dips below that standard, that expectation, it's like throw the baby out with the bathwater. And I'm saying, like, yeah, I know what we want to accomplish as a group, right? But he's not a bad coach for all intents and purposes. The team is not a bad team. They spent a ton of money. You just talked about that.
Well,
So
they're
like
a bad team. They don't have bad players. Right.
Right. So
Right.
so there has to be some time to get it right. In my opinion, in my opinion, in the MLS. Now, if money's not a factor, and maybe Atlanta that's the case, then okay, I would just like to see managers get more of an opportunity. And sometimes the people above where the managers sit overcook things and overthink things. But again, this might be right. This might be right for Atlanta. I just see too much of it, LD, that I'm like, you can't have gone through an exhaustive search process, come up with this manager, spent this money, and then 10 months later, it be done. Again, it should be done if something else is creeping on in the background that we don't know about. But if on the surface they just underperformed, there has to be another opportunity for this manager.
Okay, but I understand not whatever the expectations are, and whether it's good, bad, and different owners, and I know this, and you know this too, because owners, we know a lot of owners of different teams. When they spend X, they expect X.
I understand.
Right? And so if you're spending top of the league, they expect to be top of the league. Whether it's fair, not fair, whatever, that is just the reality. Did they need to finish first? No, but you can't finish second to last in a bad Eastern Conference. Like New England's there, Toronto's there.
I mean,
like,
you're saying what I always say.
teams.
You don't have to be great. You just can't suck. So I get that.
Yeah,
I get that.
Yeah,
But,
and you have to show some signs of something.
but I would argue. But I would argue with because you make a good point. When you spend X, you expect X. I think there are people who aren't spending X, who are still expecting certain things. You know what I'm saying?
I'm well aware.
And I would also say, right? And this is, I'm one of these people who oftentimes think like, be careful going home. Wayne Rooney, be careful going home. Miguel Marone, we might we definitely. I was gonna say, Mike, we definitely saw the best version of Miguel Marone 1.0.
Totally.
Like the comeback and the money you're gonna spend for a player like that, I think you get lulled into a false sense of security. Like, we know this player and we'll overpay. I don't.
Tim, there are very few players who, when either money or ambition is gone for them. Sorry, not money gone, but like the allure of money or what you need to do to fight to the next. There are very few players who, when you take that out, can still perform at the very highest level because they have something innate about them. Very few. Yeah. And so with Marone, it's like, got all the money, no ambition. He's not going anywhere else again, right? Unless he goes back to wherever, Paraguay or whatever. But he's like, that is, to me, that's the...
Yeah.
And look, like Son is a great example in LA. He just has that drive and ambition. He doesn't need money. He doesn't need to play for LAFC. He's just like wants to perform. So
and
anyway.
it's new for him. Atlanta
It's
United,
novel,
not
I get
new.
it. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's a good point. All right, let's tie this into Forest. So Forest lose 3-0 at home probably before the final whistle was blown. Ange was sacked. Postecoglou was sacked. 39 days. And I want to hear your thoughts because you cover these guys every weekend, but I have some interesting thoughts on this too.
Well, that forget what I
just said.
Yeah, what I just said was
right.
very much pertained to MLS because there's different parameters. Okay. What I think about the Premier League is realistically, LD, so many of these, not so many, but a lot of these big clubs, there's like that much space between the ownership and the manager. You know what I mean? Like there's like if you're like an Abramovich or Marinakis, Abramovich, formerly of Chelsea, they've basically, And to an extent, Todd Bowley's doing this at Chelsea now. They've basically created a squad that they believe in, that they think is good enough, and they have an ethos of how to build that squad. And then they don't value the coach, right? They just basically say, I'll do this merry-go-round of coaches until one sticks, right? Like Abramovich basically did that. You can come in, you can win the Premier League, I can still sack you. Because this year I won Champions League and he didn't get Champions League. So he built this robust, talented squad, and then he just spun the managerial dial until one stuck, right? That's not not normal, okay? So Marinakis, again, if you take that job, you're getting sacked. Soon, later, I don't know, but that's how it's going to go down. Again, the interesting thing for me, to my point and to your point, you don't have to be great, you just can't suck. And Forest has stunk it up. And it's unfortunate because do I think you bring, like, you have this team. Forest is a good team. We know where they finished last year, right? Under Nuno. Nuno is, you have the ball. We're going to keep probably the most clean sheets in the Premier League or near enough. A really robust back four. Sometimes we'll go into a back five. Top goalkeeper, makes tons of saves, right? Energetic midfield, and then a front three. And from that energetic midfield, we're going to spring one. We'll give you one. So we'll attack with four. But when you attack, get your butt back because we're defending most of the game, right? That's how they did it. So if you go through this process of saying, I'm sacking a manager and I'm bringing in Postecoglou.
It's like the opposite.
This team doesn't work. It's not how he works. He plays a high line, tons of athletes. You have to have the ball. So they weren't good under him, but I'm also trying to think of the thought process of the ownership there at Forest to say, well, maybe we shouldn't bring this manager in. And by the way, if we do bring this manager in, we're going to go through some massive growing pains where we're just going to have to live with it, right? You know what I'm saying? Because here's the thing. Was Sean Dyche, was he announced today? Someone, anyway, he was rumored. I don't know if he was announced. But then again, when I'm talking about the next hire, you go from a pragmatic manager to an expansive manager. And if it's Sean Dyche, you're going back to a pragmatic manager who, by the way, kept our Everton up. So it's brilliant. And I think Sean Dyche is a fantastic Premier League manager. Yeah. But it's horses for courses. So it just doesn't make sense. Go ahead. You go.
No, you're right. So you're touching on it from the club standpoint, which you're 100% right. It's so dumb to fire Nuno and then bring in someone like Ange. Not because Ange isn't a good coach or whatever. Sure. It just does not mesh. From Ange's standpoint, someone asked me this week, and they're like, well, he has to take that job when they offer it to him, right? And I said,
you don't agree with this.
No, he doesn't. No. Absolutely doesn't. He's like, well, it's a Premier League club. Of course he has to take the job. And I said, no, he doesn't, because what can happen to him after this is I don't believe he'll ever coach in the Premier League again. He's going to have to go start somewhere. He's not a young man. He's whatever, in his 50s or whatever. He's going to have to start somewhere else, maybe in the Championship, maybe in somewhere else in Europe, maybe goes back to Australia or Japan or whatever. He's not going to coach in the Premier League again. And you know who did it right, Tim? Because he's a really smart man, is David Moyes. And Moyes had moments where, and you know this from behind the scenes more than I do, where he had some offers and he probably said, that's not going to fit me. For whatever reason, right? So I'm not going to take that. And he said this to me when I was there. He said, I had some offers from some clubs, didn't fit me, didn't fit my style, so I waited. And people get so excited, and they always think the grass is greener and the opportunity. And you have to stop and say, look, money's not an issue for me. I don't have to take this job. I can wait for the right job. And if he looked at that squad, and I'm sure, of course, he did before he took it, and he looked at how they were designed and how they were built and the profiles of their players, unless he said, Marinakis, I need 3 years and we might go down and come back up, but that's the only way I get this right. And maybe he did, I don't know. But you know who the owner is too. You know he's a psycho. So he might do this. So
look,
I just think from Ange's standpoint, it was stupid. It was a dumb thing to do. And I get it. It's exciting. It's a Premier League club, but I respect
your take. I know your take. I know that's how you're very balanced in that approach. I see it in the opposite way. I'm always like, jump at the opportunity, right? But what I would say to that, Landon, is having been across it so closely, Ange okay, Tottenham weren't very good. They were good when he first took over, right? I think they were like 10 unbeaten or something, right? Then last year they finished really low, but in the Premier League, but they won the Europa League, and he talked about he always wins a trophy in his second year, and he came good on that. He got a lot of stick. So my dear friend Robbie Musto always says ego is the enemy. I think it's a book he read, so he loves to quote that stuff. My guy, but so ego is the enemy, and I think that might be a applied here, and here's why. Ange took so much stick. I mean, every interview, Landon, last year, he was combative. You saw it. He was combative. He was angry because people were giving him stick. Change your style. It doesn't work. Can't win in the Premier League. So I do believe, right? We know the angel, we know the devil. I think that devil got big, bro. I think it got big, and I think he said, you don't think I can coach in the Premier League? Because the first time someone gets sacked, guess whose name's on the board? Mine. And I'm going to show you. I do. I think that had to play into it because, to your point, it's not a stable environment. So he knows he could have very easily been sacked again, right? So
of course, you have Tim there.
Yeah,
this
I know,
is so easy for me to say sitting here. I get this, but you have to have a level of self-awareness to say that is not a good decision for me. It's not. And did anyone see this ending well?
They didn't see the ending after 6 games or whatever it is, but yeah,
I don't know.
I know. Okay, but the problem is, and I think we have to be fair to our listeners. You're talking about it, as you said, when you as you sit there, you had your morning cup of coffee, and it's nice. The greats, the elite, the people make it to the top, the 1%ers, me and you, Postecoglou, if you like, because it's the Premier League. Michael Jordan going to the Wizards. You think you can do it. That's all you've ever done is backed yourself to the hills, even when the chips were down. So that's why you make these decisions.
I went to Mexico and thought I could play. I thought, it's true. And
true.
Because we've lived it, again, it's easy to say, but I've made those mistakes.
I know. That's why you're saying,
And David Moyes made that mistake. He went to Man United. How do you say no to Man United, right? But you can't follow a legend like that. It's not going to work well. So speaking of United, wow, what a win. Nobody had that on their bingo card.
I did.
No, not that they were going to win.
100%.
Maybe they get a result.
100%. And I was the only one in our production meeting last weekend. And Rebecca tripled down. She said, Timbo, you going with United? I said, yeah.
Why? Based on what? What did
based
you
on
see?
Based on Liverpool's form, and based on the fact that I've seen Manchester United go to Anfield recently in the last couple of years and just be stodgy, just be hard to beat. I didn't think they were going to run away with it, of course, but I was like, I see the way that Liverpool is conceding. They haven't quite found their form. I could see it. I mean, everyone. That's what I thought before the weekend. That's all.
All right. Well, that's 4 straight losses for Arne Slot and his team. If they lose midweek at Frankfurt in the Champions League, that will be the first time they've lost 5 in a row since September of 1953.
Long time ago.
I think that's the year my mom was born.
53?
That's insane.
It's crazy.
Insane. So what's wrong? Tell me what's wrong. What's going on with Liverpool?
Well, it's an interesting one, right? Because you start to get a bunch of different wrinkles. Like Ekitike, he's your guy. We can't really be your guy if you bring in Isak for that money, right?
Yeah.
So I would have liked to see, and I think Isak's one of the best strikers in the world. I'd have liked to see Ekitike run himself out, meaning we're going to play, how many games is Liverpool going to play this year? 50 some odd games, right? Like if you can keep the shirt for the next 10, it's yours. And by the way, my record signing, he'll get 40 games. I ain't worried about him, right? Because you got to roll with the hot hand. And I saw Alex Ferguson do it. We didn't have the luxury at Everton, so when David Moyes brought a player in, you're playing. But I saw Alex Ferguson do it. You bring in this big signing, you're like, oh, this guy's hit the ground running. Hit the ground running. He's sitting over there in the stands. Like the manager will put you on when he wants, right? But he wasn't. And I'm not suggesting that Arne Slot is forced to do that, but Wirtz hasn't found his position. Is he a midfield 10 who likes to look for the ball? Is he, then that wasn't working. So let's stick him on the wing, right? Give him a little bit more freedom. That wasn't working. So there's that part. I think understanding, you know this better than I do, or as well. Like partnerships and understanding are so key.
Totally.
And for Trent Alexander-Arnold, for all the well, I don't know if he can defend. There was with Robertson and Trent. I would say that even now, some people might argue this. If you gave me Robertson, Trent, Van Dijk, and Konate, I would say that's still a better back four than what you can produce. No, I really do. I don't know if that's a championship winning back four. I don't know. But right now, so Frimpong hasn't been up to speed. There's something going on with Van Dijk, and Kirk has the left back. I mean, he's constantly on his back. So I don't know.
Van Dijk just got run by.
Yeah, I know.
With Mbomo on the first goal.
Yeah.
Like, he just doesn't. Yeah, it's bizarre.
Goalkeeper situation not great because Allison is probably the best in the world, and when he's out, you go down a level. So, Mo Salah is not. Look, the thing about Mo Salah for me is like he's going to score 20 goals this year. I know he's off the pace, but like he needs to get going, and I know he will. So, I don't know. What do you think?
I think that even if you change one player in a team, the dynamic can completely change. And with Luis Diaz gone, Robertson out, Alexander-Arnold gone. Now you bring in Wirtz, Ekitike, Isak. There's all these different dynamics that change, and sometimes it just bang works, and sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes doesn't.
And you see it with, and we'll talk about City now. They beat Everton 2-0, but like even some of the. You make one little change or one little guy's out of the team, and all of a sudden everything changes. And one thing that doesn't change for them is Erling Haaland just keeps scoring. 11 goals in his first 8 Premier League games this season. I remember midweek someone texted me because I wasn't watching the game. He scored a hat trick for Norway and missed 2 penalties. I'm not sure. Has that ever happened in a game? The guy's he's on a different planet, right? And he's going to take Norway to the World Cup too. So we're going to get to see him here next summer, which is going to be amazing.
The interesting thing, and City, obviously, I thought played well. Everton played well in the first half. But here's what I would say about Haaland. And thankfully there's nobody in the room because they'd probably smack me if I said it. But it's like he's starting to remind me of Messi. Not the way he plays, but you just read that, right? 11 goals in his first 8 games. You know what I'm supposed to say when you say that? Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm kind of just like, yeah. And by the way, no one's even talking about it. That's how normal this has become. When you talk about the Premier League, you're talking about Arsenal, rightfully so. Talking about Liverpool, rightfully so, because they're off the pace. Yeah, Haaland's got 11 and 8. Like, what? That's great. Now, when he first came to the Premier League, I remember going, wow. We had like a pace tracker. It was like he's on pace for 60. He's on pace for 58, whatever. But like now, whatever. Yeah, he scored.
Can you imagine?
He's that good.
Can you imagine if Ekitike or Gyökeres or Sesko had scored 11 and 8 right now? We'd be like, he's lighting the league on fire. This is amazing. With Haaland, you're like,
it's crazy.
Okay.
It's also crazy because there's so many soccer. I wasn't one of them, so I'll hold my hand up to say like I was right. But there's so many soccer people who dared 3 years ago to take on the conversation of, is City better without Haaland? Is Haaland holding City back? I know he's got 58 goals this season, but is he holding them back? Like,
so stupid.
Do me a favor.
Do me a favor. On the other side of that loss, Jordan Pickford signed a new deal with the Toffees through 2029.
Yeah. I'm disappointed.
I think you hold some records, and is he coming after you? You're disappointed?
I like Jordan Pickford. I've had great interaction with him, but I'm disappointed. I wish he would leave Everton because he's getting really close to my records. I worked hard for them. I gave everything, and Jordan Pickford is going to beat all those records. He's going to shatter them.
All of them.
That's
right.
fine.
Well, I'm happy
for him. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for Everton because he's been absolutely sensationally brilliant in his time, and
he really has.
Yes.
And by the way, Tim, and he said it in his comments. He said the dark days are behind us, and now we can focus on just moving forward. And we have to remember. And we're fortunate now, but for 2 or 3 years, like it was, oh my God, we might get relegated. Yeah. And he held it together and he stayed. He could have gone somewhere and left and whatever. I mean, he's helped keep that club afloat. So.
It is. And you hope for Everton, because we're on a topic, the dark days are over, but then you also, you need to see Everton back in Europe. Like they've got to be back in Europe. Those fans deserve those European nights.
And the new
like,
stadium would be
in the
so
new
great.
stadium. Yeah. So I think those days are to come. David Moyes knows how to navigate that. So hopefully soon.
Yeah. All right, let's take another break. When we come back, we will get into the AT&T Fan Connection with JR. Lots of your questions this week right here on Unfiltered Soccer with Landon and Tim, presented by Volkswagen. Stay right there. All right, Timmy, I want to tell you about a time I had to choose a much chiller path. 2009 in Seattle, we're playing Real Salt Lake in the MLS Cup final. We go to penalties. Who misses a penalty? This guy.
You.
Got back on the bus. I was crying in the back of the bus. And I had this moment where I had a realization that, yes, I missed the penalty. Yes, we lost chance at winning an MLS Cup final. But I said, you know what? Like, I did everything I could have. I tried my hardest, and it didn't work out. And when you embrace that chill mindset, it's a good time to choose chill. And as always, crack open a Coors Light.
Make the most of the times you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door. Visit CoorsLight.com/USLNT. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Beer. There's nothing better than feeling like someone has your back and that things are going to get done without you even having to ask.
Like fans who start to sing and chant at the exact moment their team needs to rally.
A coach who can change strategies at halftime to help their team win.
A keeper you know is defending your goal.
Or a forward who is always ready to receive the ball.
At Unfiltered Soccer, Tim and I know all too well how important it is to be sure someone out there has your back. And that's precisely why AT&T has a new guarantee.
The AT&T guarantee is all about having your back. When you're with AT&T, if there's a network interruption, they'll proactively make it right with a credit for a full day of service, guaranteed.
Visit att.com/guarantee to learn more. Terms and conditions apply.
AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Credit for fiber downtime lasting 20 minutes or more, or wireless downtime lasting 60 minutes or more, caused by a single incident impacting 10 or more towers. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See att.com/guarantee for full details.
It's time for the Fan Connection presented by AT&T. Every week we invite you, the listener, to connect with us by submitting your questions. The best way to grow the game of soccer in the U.S. is to keep asking questions and keep talking about the sport we all love. At AT&T, connecting changes everything. And on USMNT, our connections with you will help grow the game. All right, it's that time again. AT&T Fan Connection. We love it. You love it. Jordan most definitely loves it. And you told us before the show you might have some spice for us. Welcome in, Jordan.
Yes, I do. I have some slightly spicy questions this week, I think, a little bit.
Jordan, you're a bit somber today. Why is that?
Oh,
I'm not.
You know,
talking
she's
to
trying
you.
hard. She's trying hard to represent her team when they're down. I get it.
She's pretending.
I am wearing the 1993-95 replica Liverpool jersey with number 9 Ian Rush on my back.
Mm-hmm.
As a reminder to all the Liverpool fans out there that we have sucked before and we will be
they're
great.
saying we'll suck again.
Tim, you know how during the game, like all the fans were booing? She's trying to show like the world that she's a real diehard fan and she sticks by them through thick and thin, but Liverpool fans don't do that. Like Everton fans. All right, go on, Jordan.
Give us some spice.
Okay. Well, let's start with some USMNT questions. You guys were talking about Christian Pulisic before. This question is from Joel, I think it's Joel, via email. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but I haven't heard anyone comment on the fact that Christian Pulisic had the captain's armband on for the Australia match. I could see him limping in the first 10 to 15 minutes. He shouldn't have been in the game. Could giving him the armband, his first since Pochettino was hired, been a way to get him to start the match if he was reluctant? How is the captaincy decided on?
Oh, it's a good question because I have
no. First of all,
a strong opinion.
First of all, no. He didn't. You're not going to entice a player with, if you play, I'll give you the armband. So that I'm just going to start with that, and then go ahead, Tim.
Keep going.
No. That's all I have. I
have a strong feeling about. I play for some incredible captains, and the captain is not a player The captain is not always your best player. The captain, and usually it's not your best player. The captain should never need to be enticed to wear a captain's armband to play better. The captain is just your captain. The captain is the most, one of the most respected people on the team. It has nothing to do with ability. It's about accountability. That's who your captain is. So I actually was surprised that was the first time he's worn the captain's armband under Pochettino. I didn't know that, but I would imagine that with you like you, that definitely didn't happen.
It was interesting. I guess I didn't put that all together that he wore the armband. Tim Ream didn't start, right?
Right.
But Chris Richards started.
Right.
So the next logical choices would have been Tyler if he was in.
Wasn't in.
Or Chris Richards, really. I don't know.
And Chris Richards took the armband from Christian when he went off.
Well,
yep.
I don't know if he took it, but he
received it. Yeah.
He was the next person to wear it. So that's interesting. I hadn't tied that together. I guess who else do you give it to? I think given his performances for the team, I would have probably given it to Chris Richards and everything he'd done. But yeah, that's interesting. And it's for managers, you're balancing all these different things. And so if you don't give it to him, what does that say? And so it's a challenge.
They should just, certain teams let the players vote and they tally that up. Probably not at that level, maybe at that level, but the manager should have his captain, and then that's it. And a senior leadership group. But
you know what Bob Bradley used to do? This was so great. He'd always it wasn't a threat, but he'd always go, with some teams, I'll have my players write down who they want to play with or who their starting 11 should be or which guys he would always say on this side of the line or that side of the line. And he would never actually do it, but it made you think about it. Who do I want to play with? And then if you're like one of those guys who's like, shoot, do people want to play with me or whatever? It was like really, so maybe you just threaten it.
That's I forgot about the line. Bob, we talked about being on the other side of the line. But I remember on the but the Milan teams of AC Milan teams that I grew up watching, or maybe late 90s, early 2000s, they had a club rule. I don't know who implemented it. Maldini was the captain. And then when Maldini wasn't on the pitch, there was a hierarchy of who had been at the club longest. Didn't matter your nationality.
That was it.
So Maldini goes off the pitch. And at one point it became Ambrosini, who was like a younger kid. He had been at the club longer than anybody else because he had served through the youth. So he got the captain's armband. I just remember.
And then there's no discussion. It's just, yeah. All right. Good question.
Okay. So you guys mentioned Chris Richards in there, and we actually got 3 or 4 versions of the question I'm about to ask you. So this one is from Vincent via email. In the USMNT versus Australia reaction live stream, thanks so much for watching, Vincent, Tim and Landon talked about players stepping up and being the enforcer to help protect players who would get smashed by the opposing team. It sounded like Chris Richards was ready to do that in the game against Australia, but is he the right player to do that? A center back with a yellow card seems like a liability at the back. Wouldn't it be better for a player further up the pitch to take that role, like a Weston McKennie?
Go on.
Yeah. But by the way, Chris Richards wouldn't be the only tough, tenacious center back who's willing to step up for his team in world football.
Yeah.
That's kind of part of that job, right? We see it constantly in the Premier League with certain center backs. So what Chris Richards is saying, he's not saying like he's just going to go steaming into a tackle and continually get booked and put himself on the edge. That's not what he's saying. Because by the way, you could also send messages in different ways. And so he's obviously going to be smart about it. But of course, you're hoping he's not taking a yellow card early on in the game. But I don't think that's what Chris Richards meant.
And it is a little less about position, although generally speaking, center backs, gritty defensive midfielders kind of carry that mentality and they're like that. But it can be an attacking player. Like Connor Casey, a guy we played with, he used to smash center backs and not in a retaliatory way all the time. It was just like he wanted to be a nightmare to play against. And so he would just hammer you and smash you something, not me, but like center back. And so it's more just personality driven. I don't think West really has that. We saw Sebastian Berhalter definitely has that in the Gold Cup. And some guys just have that about him.
Okay, one more U.S. men's national team question. This one is from John via email. John says, I have watched Miles Robinson since his Atlanta United days and admit he is a favorite. Please go back over the last 2 games. Miles started both, so the gaffer has confidence. He played well. Only fault was Irankunda breakthrough. The kid is a beast. Who knew? Miles is an excellent coverage guy and superior on recovery ability. In the podcast after the games, very little said about him. It's not right.
Yeah, fair. I mean,
fair. And because it seems now that Pochettino is going to play in a back 3, you would think he is the leading candidate to play with Chris Richards and Tim Ream. And then the question is, where is everyone best suited? And that part is tricky because you would say Chris Richards in the middle makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons, but Chris Richards plays on the right for his club team, and there's so much value in just knowing automatically what that's like. And then you come into the national team, you got to change a little. So they are different. They are very different positions. So, but I agree. I think Miles was solid, did no wrong. And as Pochettino always not only says, but shows with his actions, if you play well and you work and you fight, you're going to play again. So I wouldn't be surprised if he starts the next game.
And there are just some players who are underappreciated. And Miles is obviously one of them, but we don't disagree with that, put in 2 good performances and on a team where there are a bunch of stars, his name is not going to pop to the top. So we're going to remember that. Remember that next time we do a live stream.
Who asked the question?
John.
And John, by the way, you want it that way. You want it to be that we're not talking about him. Okay. So just like a referee, you don't want us talking about him. That means he's just doing his job solidly. And then we'll look up in 3 months and go, damn, that guy started 6 games in a row. That's pretty good. And it's better that way. Because if we're talking about him, it means something bad happened, most likely.
Okay, one more question. This one's from Katie via email. And before I ask her question, I also just want to mention in her email, she asked if we would consider doing some content going forward where you guys discuss the different positions on the field and kind of like explain what each position is supposed to do and what purpose they serve. I feel like that might be something interesting.
I feel like it's social content.
2.
I like it.
Yeah.
It is. But
Good
I just
idea,
warn you,
Katie.
Katie, there's not just 11 positions because there's formations and how you play and what it looks like if you're if you're Nottingham Forest versus if you're Man City. So we can get into all that, but
maybe she needs to send us a couple specifics on I'd really like to know what an 8 does or what, what that type of thing.
In this system, right?
Yeah, you have homework.
You got homework, Katie. Do your homework.
You've got a couple weeks before we start season 2, so give it a think.
Go.
Okay, so this is Katie's question. She says, I am a newer soccer fan, which kind of explains the thing she's looking for, and I am still learning the dynamics of the game. My question is, given the state of the current U.S. men's national team, how much of the struggle we can attribute to the coaching staff? I always see coaches get blamed when teams aren't doing well, and I'm trying to decipher if that's the case with the current men's national team that seems to still be working to find their way.
Well, there's a few things. One, it's easier to fire one person than it is 25 on a roster. Second of all, with the national team, you can't cut players. You cannot bring them in, but you can't sign new players, right? So you bring in the coach and the coach has this group of players and that's it. I'm assuming her question is in reference to prior to this last this last international window, because I thought the team was excellent and really moving in the right direction. And to your point, Katie, it takes a lot of time for a coach, and Tim talks about this, and giving coach more time to get a team to culturally adapt to what you want from them, on the field adapt to what you want from them. And with the national team, it's exacerbated because you only get them for a few days at a time. So when you're with a club team, you have them every day. So over 3 months, there's massive improvement. 6 months, massive improvement. With a national team, it's really hard because you're starting over a little bit every time they come into camp.
That's right. Nothing really to add to that.
That's it.
Nothing from you. No random.
No Liverpool
thoughts.
Questions or anything.
You got anything for us? I mean, you always
4 losses in a row.
Well, not Liverpool. It could be a soccer question. It could be anything. No, nothing spicy.
No. I'm good for right now. I would just like to remind people that we're off for the next 2 weeks while we get our heads down and get prepared for season 2. So you have plenty of time to send me questions. Feedback at unfilteredsoccer.com. Just be nice.
Okay.
That's really all that I ask. Don't
nice.
boo Liverpool. Nice. Give me a break, guys. I'm clearly already getting it from Landon and Tim. I don't need it from
Jordan will, like, in our group chat, put some nice comment that someone wrote to her and then ask a question. And then sure enough, that question shows up on the show. So
not this
flattery
time.
works.
Not this time.
Not this time. All right. Thanks, JR.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Timmy. End of season
Congrats,
1.
Bud. It's a good one.
Congrats to you.
You got hair in an entire season. That's the best thing that happened to us.
Wow, what a season. All right, so I'm going to do this relatively quickly, but I get this comment a lot, and I think you do too. One, when people come up and say, I love the show, we love the podcast, me and my son listen every week, whatever. And the comment I get probably more than any is, we love you guys are great, but just the production of the show is phenomenal. And like the way it's put together and the social media and the graphics and the sound and all of it is amazing.
We're really really lucky in that regard because we enjoy what we do. We have a Unfiltered Soccer chat group that is pinned at the top of my phone because it goes off all day and we just talk soccer and sometimes we talk about,
and I pray to God it never gets released publicly.
But there's just a lot of we enjoy it. I don't know if we
really
have an
do.
amazing team. It's fun, doing a podcast at this level with these people is fun. And obviously we're going to show them some love. So,
and we got hopefully many years to come. So I just want to run through just briefly. So every episode is edited and mastered in some way by some of the following: Adam Bronstein, thank you. Grant Gadbois, who was on today, thank you. Andrew Hartley, Tim Merlot, Corey Shepard, Jeremy Steinkamp. And then some of the more regulars, anything that happens on social media is our man, Dan Armelli.
Yes, Dan. Big shout.
All the videos, big shout, Dan. All the videos on social are edited by Kyle. Kyle Curley is on here, and my last chat on here was Joey from Friends. So that's people know what we were talking about in between. Our production lead, Eric Newell, who's also on.
Eric is the guy. Aside from everything else, it's when I have an issue with electronics, technology. I'm just like, jump in here. FaceTime, can you just sort this out? And he does. So big shout out.
And then every week we get a rundown, and I don't know how this guy has time. He has kids. He loves the Eagles and the Phillies,
Lord.
Although now the Phillies are out, so he has more time. But he puts together a rundown of what we should talk about and keeps all these things front of mind, because sometimes we go, oh my God, I didn't see that. I didn't recognize. He's just like sits and watches soccer all day. So Andrew Gunling, thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
We adore you.
Absolutely incredible.
And then I feel like we're missing someone.
That's it.
Anyone else important on the
we got our list? No, it's done.
That's it. Nobody else. Nobody like asked questions or anything.
Oh, you're talking about a Liverpool fan. You're talking about a Liverpool fan?
Oh.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, she's a Liverpool fan, but we love her. JR, we love you. We adore you.
Jordan, more than anything,
thanks for everything.
The public adores you.
Yes.
We didn't anticipate when we were talking with our agents, and this was the Landon and Tim show. We just weren't anticipating that there was going to be not only a sidekick but someone who stole the show. So congratulations on your first season of the show, and we appreciate you all. So much love.
And just so everyone knows, our group chat used to be USLNT, and now it's USLNT and JR.
Oh, that's amazing.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks to everyone for the first season. We'll be back in 2 weeks, I believe, to start season 2. Really exciting. Obviously, next year is going to be phenomenal. Thank you guys for making this show the #1 soccer podcast in the country, a top 10, 15, depending on when you're looking, sports podcast. We really appreciate you guys. Continue to follow on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts. And as always, follow social media at Unfiltered Soccer for all the bonus content.
LD, thank you, man. Thank you for being my brother and
thank you too, buddy.
My co-host, our production team, our staff, everybody we just mentioned. Pretty amazing first season. And to all of you out there, soccer fans who adore this sport and our national team and all the leagues, and you keep us accountable. You show us love, show us hate, whatever that looks like. It's been a lot of fun. We look forward to more of it. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, VW, our Fan Connection sponsor, AT&T, our Unfiltered Refresh sponsor, Coors Light, and our additional sponsors, Cafe Bustelo and Virgin Atlantic. Have a great week. We'll be back with Season 2 on November 11th with another edition of Unfiltered Soccer.